All right, so I just learned about understanding state and state management, and I wanted to take the original code that we started with, and I wanted to go ahead and do this exercise with and include state management. So I won't really go into the importance of state management and all that. I'll just go into building. But basically, our state management always goes at the top of our constructor, and it's going to be an object. And we need two states. We need one state for the user authentication. So if the user is true, that means the user is authenticated. So we can go up here and we can say is auth, and we'll just start it at false by default. We also want to throw an error, and this is saying if the user is false, then we want to throw out this error. So we can say error equals an empty string, since it'll be a line of text. And basically what this app is doing is that it's saying const user. If the user is true, then we're going to get the user message, and the text content is going to be welcome back. So this DOM element right here, we're getting it by the get element by ID user message down here in our span. So that's why our welcome back is displaying. But if the user is false, then we're going to say you must sign in red text. So the next thing we need to do is that we need to mutate the isAuth to be true if the user is true. And the way not to do it is by directly mutating the state object key or object, or the key. So if we say this.state is auth equals true, we actually don't want to do it this way. Instead, we want to say this.state equals a new object literal of the elements from this.state. So all of the elements inside of the original array. And we want to say isAuth equals true. So now we can get rid of this, and we can do the same thing for the error. So we can say this.state equals a spreaded array this dot state, and then this is this dot state over here. Now we can say the error is going to equals to a string called you must sign in. And this is basically just saying we're going to mutate this dot state object. We're going to do an object literal syntax, so we'll return a new object with the contents of this object, and then we're going to mutate the error inside of the object to say you must sign in. So now I can go ahead and comment these two things out. And to edit the span, all we have to do is take this off, or not edit the span, I'm sorry, to include it. And then we can just say this dot state dot isAuth, and we say if that's true, we can run welcome back, and if that's false, we can run this dot state dot error. So now we have to go ahead and put check authentication before render. So because we need to check the authentication, I can't even say that word. Because we're going to check auth and render is dependent on check auth, we need to require check is auth before render. If not, it won't load up. So another feature we had was we were able to change the style color of this dot state you must sign in to red. So to do that, we can go inside our div, we can say style equals, and then we can grab the color, and we can say this dot state dot error and red. So this is basically saying if this dot state dot error is true, then we can change the color to red. So now if we go false, we'll see that we get the red text. And if we take this off, we'll see that we lose the red text. Okay, so this dot state dot auth, that's actually not as readable. So what we can do now is that we can use object destructuring to grab those values directly from the this.state in the constructor, and we can use a dot here or down here, not dot here. So we can say const, use the object literal, equal it out to this.state, and inside we can grab the values that we wanted to structure and be able to use as global variables. So we can say this is auth and error, and instead of saying this.state.isAuth, we can just use isAuth. And instead of using this.state.error, we can just use error. And the same goes there. So now if we say true, we're saying welcome back. And if we say false, we're saying you must sign in. So that was pretty much it for state management. There's a lot more nuances that I didn't really explain, but I'll probably just go back to my notes. I didn't want to make this video too long, but that's about it.